welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton, and this is going to be another 24/7 news report video. There's not been a lot of news today. There's been a couple of things which are worth talking about. The first one obviously being Bernard again. Bernard and Xerxes are the main transfer goings on at the moment at Everton. Obviously there was that meeting between Everton and Bernard's agent. Sport Witness are saying that a meeting has happened and that more meetings will happen. So obviously Robin Olsen going the other way, Bernard going out looks like to be like the main what's going to happen. I hope that is what happens. Obviously I've spoken about it enough. You guys have heard it enough as well. You're not going to want to hear it again from me. I've mentioned it so many times. But there is a couple more pieces of news today. Of course, we're going to bring Joshua Xerxes to you again. He's probably been the hottest Everton transfer of this window so far. And obviously that one's going to go on until the end of the window. A couple of teams from Italy are also interested. And I'm hoping that one can get done because I'd love to see him at the club. Josh King's another one. Today the Chronicle and HITC Sport have both said that Josh King is being tracked by Everton, as well as Aston Villa and Newcastle. And of course yesterday I brought you the news that West Ham had hit a stumbling block in their move for Josh King, and the Mirror are claiming that he's being held up over wage demands, which doesn't surprise me, to be honest. I think he's fishing around the market for a good deal. But there's not too much in the way of transfer news today. There were obviously pieces I brought you yesterday, but there is a couple bit more. The first one's Jared Branthwaite, who made his debut for Blackburn. And I brought you this one last week when he was linked with a move to Blackburn. And I just thought it'd be good to fill you in if you hadn't seen on how he played. So the Echo reporting here that Jared Branthwaite's loan to Blackburn Rovers got off to a solid start on Saturday afternoon, with manager Tony Mowbray singling the youngster out for praise, which is great news. The Championship side secured a 1-1 draw at home to Stoke City at Ewood Park in what was a hard-fought game, with James Chester being sent off for the visitors in the second half. Everton's loanee found himself straight in the starting 11 as a centre-back in a defensive quartet and put in an impressive display on his debut. So this is what we've become to expect from Branthwaite. He was good for us in the Premier League, comes straight into Blackburn's team, which is what we want. We don't want him sitting on the bench, we want him straight in the team, getting experience. And it's so good to see that Tony Mowbray put the faith in him, started him in the back four, and obviously singled him out for praise because we know what a good player he can be, and he obviously showed that on Saturday against Stoke for Blackburn. The 18-year-old won 3 aerial duels, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions and 3 clearances over the course of his full 90 minutes on the pitch. And Blackburn boss Mowbray was keen to praise Branthwaite for his debut display following the final whistle. So I'm really happy about this one. I'm glad to see that he started off well, he started off solid. Playing 90 minutes as well is massive. For a lone player of his age to get out and immediately get put into the team, really, really happy. I'll read you a couple of the quotes that Adam Jones has wrote in the Liverpool Echo. First one says, and he's coming from Tony Mowbray obviously, after that game against Stoke, he said, "I thought Jared was very steady today. As a young kid who reminds me a lot of Scott Wharton, to be honest. He just does his job, plays his position, wins his headers. We've got to remember, he's an 18-year-old boy, but I thought he was steady today, and that's all I would ask of him every week." A 7 or 8 out of 10 every week. Win your headers, play forward passes, and just do your job, as it says on the tin. And I thought he did that very well today. So, really, really happy that Jared started off his Blackburn career in the best way possible. Made up to hear that he started well in that. Tony Mowbray, his manager, who put a lot of faith in him, bringing him to Blackburn on loan and starting him straight away. Just really pleased that that he was able to get a bit of playing time and that he played well. There's a couple of tweets actually from Blackburn fans. At Bradley Staten says, "Man of the match for me, solid and confident player." Bamba92, man of the match for me, only positive, looked brilliant today. Shame the same can't be said from the majority of others. Solid display on your debut. So really happy to see that Jared Brandthwaite was playing well on Saturday for Blackburn Rovers. Really happy about that one. And then the last piece of news I've got for today is Leighton Baines and Bill Kenwright, mentioning, spoke a bit more in depth about Leighton Baines' retirement decision. This one caught my eye straight away and I wanted to mention it to you. With Leighton Baines being my favourite Everton player of all time, I think most people my age, he is their favourite player of all time. Everton chairman Bill Kenwright has explained why Leighton Baines decided to retire from football at the end of last season. Baines announced the end of his playing career following a 3-1 defeat to Bournemouth in July, having spent 12 seasons at Goodison Park. He's now a professional development coach within the club. So, I think there was a bit of speculation over whether or not he would stay at the club, whether he would go on to be a coach, whether he'd leave the club. And obviously he ended up getting a job within the coaching staff at Everton. So really pleased to see that Bill Kenwright's come out and mentioned him a bit more. Kenwright revealed he tried to convince Baines to sign for another term, which is interesting because I'm not sure that was, obviously there was talk of that maybe happening, but it seemed that Baines, he had his idea that he was going to move on. He said, I tried, but you just knew he's a thinking boy and a thinking left back and a thinking footballer, and he didn't want to be remembered as anything other than a great left back in Evertonians' eyes. So that was obviously the reason we thought. He didn't want to be remembered for anything apart from his best, and he always gave his best. He's a good lad, so it was great when we talked about a new role. He's taken to it really, really well. He said to me at the end of the last game of the season, which wasn't good for Everton against Bournemouth, he'd spoken to a couple of the young boys and he said, you've really got to think about this. Not particularly first team players, but I went, oh, that's impressive. We spoke to Marcel and Denise. Baines joined a number of former Evertonians who are part of the coaching setup, including David Unsworth, John Ebrell and Duncan Ferguson. So yeah, it seems to be settling into his role quite well. We've seen quite a lot of training pictures of Leighton Baines in an Everton tracksuit standing on the touchline, which is a bit of a strange one, to be honest, to get used to. I only remember Leighton Baines playing for Everton, so it's a bit of a strange one to see him as a coach, but obviously got to wish him well, and hopefully he can help the next crop of Everton players improve, and I hope he can, because he definitely had the ability as a player, so let's hope he's got it as a coach. But that's going to be it for this one, guys. Obviously there's not too much news, pretty much rounding up yesterday's transfer news, and then a couple of headlines from today, just Brandthwaite and Baines really. Stay tuned, because I think this Bernard one could progress a little bit more, as well as maybe Josh King, Joshua Xerxes. So yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you more through the week, and I'll see you in the next one.